Hi guys, welcome back. So we are continuing with the rules of the road. But before I start or before we continue, please do make sure that you are subscribed. As I always say that when I check the analytics, I see that over 70% of the people who watch my videos have not subscribed to my channel. So please, subscribing doesn't cost a thing. You just hit the subscribe button. All right, so we're continuing with the rules of the road. So we're coming to stopping on a road. You may not stop on the road unless instructed to do so by a traffic officer or road sign or to avoid an accident. So you don't just stop on the road. Okay. You stop only when you are instructed by a traffic officer, road sign or an accident or to avoid an accident, right? Or when you are involved in an accident or when the situation is beyond your control. Okay? So now we have other no stopping places. Other no stopping places. You may not stop next to or opposite an excavation if this obstructs traffic flow. You may not stop in a tunnel, subway, or a bridge. On the right side of the road facing oncoming traffic, you may not stop there. You may not stop next to or opposite another vehicle where the road is 9 meters wide. Within a railway reserve at a level crossing, you may not stop where you would cause an obstruction or danger to traffic. Safety is important. You may not stop on a painted island. You may not stop on a freeway. And then we have compulsory stops. When is it necessary for you to stop, or where is it necessary for you to stop? It's necessary for you to stop. It's compulsory for you to stop if you are directed to do so by a traffic officer, road sign, traffic light, or farm animal. Look, they say or farm animal. So, but we know that a cow cannot put his hand up and say stop. But when they say farm animal, they're talking about someone who's herding the animals, right? And then asking you to stop. It's compulsory for you to stop. It's compulsory for you to stop for pedestrians on or entering a pedestrian crossing on your side. Compulsory for you to stop if you are involved in an accident. And then pedestrians right of way at a pedestrian crossing. Where a pedestrian crossing is situated next to a traffic light, they must cross according to the signal on the traffic light. Drivers must yield the right of way by slowing down or stopping for a pedestrian who is on or entering a pedestrian crossing on your side. Do not overtake a vehicle that is stopped at a pedestrian crossing. Okay, straightforward. If a vehicle has stopped at a pedestrian crossing, you don't overtake it because you might bump to someone who might be crossing. Pedestrians do not have the right to enter a pedestrian crossing suddenly so that an approaching vehicle has to stop suddenly and unsafely. And then pedestrians should cross the road at crossings only or at a distance of not more than 50 meters from the crossing. Okay? That's it. Right, and then we come to the rules of towing. The rules of towing. The distance between two vehicles may not exceed 3.5 meters. If it is more than 1.8 meters, there must be a clearly visible red flag tied to it. Then a licensed driver must control the towed vehicle unless a controlled towing device tows the vehicle. The towed vehicle must have efficient brakes unless towed by a drawbar or tow bar. And then when towing, the maximum speed is 30 kilometers per hour unless you are towing by means of a solid bar. You may not carry passengers in the towed vehicle. Towing on a freeway without a solid bar is unlawful if the freeway has a minimum speed of 30 kilometers per hour. Remember, minimum speed means that you may not drive less than the speed indicated. So if minimum speed is 30 kilometers per hour, that means you should drive 30 kilometers per hour and above, right? So, and you know that when towing without a solid bar, the maximum speed is 30 kilometers per hour. So then that's the reason why towing on a freeway without a solid bar will be unlawful, because the minimum speed is 30. So then you cannot drive there, because that means you have to drive above 30. Then we come to light motor vehicle and heavy motor vehicle lights. When using any light or heavy motor vehicle on a public road, all lamps must be undamaged, unobscured, properly secured, and capable of being lit at all times. The headlamps, rear lamps, and number plate lamps must be kept lit during the period which is between sunset and sunrise. At any other time, when due to insufficient light or unfavorable weather conditions, persons and vehicles upon the public road are not clearly discernible at a distance of 150 meters. Okay, so the light motor vehicles and heavy motor vehicle lights should be properly secured and should be capable of being lit at all times. All right, they should not be damaged. So if you are driving a vehicle and your lights are not working, you can even get a fine. Okay, and then we come to the second bullet point. Provided that these provisions shall not apply to a motor vehicle which is parked how? Off the roadway of a public road. If your car is parked well off the road, right, then you don't need to switch on your lights. In a parking place demarcated by an appropriate traffic sign, within a distance of 12 meters from a lit street lamp illuminating the road on which such vehicle is parked. Okay, and then we have the main beams, deep beams, parking lamps, rear lamps, and stop lamps. Now, this is very important. Let's start with the main beams. The main beams, otherwise known as bright light. Main beams must emit a white light, enabling the driver to see any person or vehicle or object of a distance of at least 100 meters. Okay. Remember to turn off the bright light if there is oncoming vehicle approaching, or when you are following another vehicle. So your main beam, should they ask you, main beam should be able to illuminate at least 100 meters. Ahead. Okay, that's your main beam. And then we talk of the deep beam. Deep beams must emit a white light, enabling the driver to see any person or vehicle or object of a distance of at least 45 meters. So 45 meters is your deep beams. Right. Then moving on to parking lamps. A vehicle may not be driven on a public road with only the parking lamps lit while such vehicle is in motion. Okay? Then we have rear lamps. You may not drive or ride any vehicle on a public road without a rear lamp emitting a red light fitted. Okay? It's very important that your rear lamps are properly working. And then we come to the stop lamps. You may not drive a light motor vehicle or motorcycle on a public road unless it is fitted with stop lamps at the rear. When in use, they must emit a red light, which must be greater than that of the lights emitted by the rear lamps, and must be visible in normal sunlight at a distance of 30 meters to a person of normal eyesight. This is what is important. The 30 meters. All right. So the stop lamps should be visible in normal sunlight at a distance of 30 meters to a person of normal eyesight. Okay. And then we come to your number plate lamp. You may not drive a motor vehicle on a public road unless it is fitted with at least one number plate lamp at the rear, illuminating the number plate. Every letter and figure of such plate must be visible from a distance of 20 meters by a person of normal eyesight. 20 meters. All these things that I'm underlining, they are very important. Okay? Right. And then we come to the fog lamps. Front fog lamps, rear fog lamps. No vehicle may be driven on a public road while any fog lamp fitted to such vehicle is lit, except in conditions of poor visibility caused by what? Caused by snow, fog, mist, dust, or smoke. Then the last point, stop lamps. A motor vehicle may not be used on a public road if it is fitted with a spot lamp, which can be so adjusted as to enable a beam of light to emit from it and be deflected in any direction. Right. Now we move on to motorcycle lights. You may not operate a motorcycle on a public road unless all lamps fitted to such motorcycle are undamaged, properly secured, and capable of being lit at all times. When riding a motorcycle on a public road, the headlamp must be lit at all times during day and night. So remember that when you are going for your motor vehicle learners, you are not required to know the rules of motorcycles or motorcycle. Right. So now we come to what is not allowed on freeways. Animal-drawn vehicles are not allowed. Bicycles, motorcycles with an engine capacity of 50 cc or less, electrically powered motorcycles with a mass of 30 kgs or less, for example, used by people with disabilities. Motor tricycles or quad bikes, tractors unless used for road work. Pedestrians are not allowed on freeways unless they are in an area demarcated for stopping or parking. Animals are not allowed on a freeway unless inside a vehicle or within an area demarcated for stopping or parking. You cannot stop on a freeway except when instructed to do so by a traffic officer or road sign in an area demarcated for stopping or parking. And then there is an important note that hand signals may not be used on a freeway unless in an emergency. These restrictions do not apply to maintenance, construction workers, emergency crews, and officials on duty. And then the exciting news is that learner drivers on freeways may drive only if accompanied by a licensed driver. Okay, a learner driver may drive on a freeway only if a licensed driver accompanies them. So after getting your learner's license, you can drive anywhere and everywhere as long as there is a licensed driver with you. I mean, a fully licensed driver. Then we come to vehicles causing excessive noise. You may not operate a vehicle that is too noisy or has accessories that are too noisy. Use of a hooter. No person shall use the hooter of a vehicle except when such use is necessary on the grounds of safety. You may not use a light motor vehicle on a public road unless it is equipped with a warning device, of which is otherwise known as a hooter, which is in good working order. When used, capable of emitting a sound which is clearly audible by a person of normal hearing from a distance of 90 meters. Sirens or warning devices that play a tune may not be used in private vehicles. Hindering or obstructing traffic. You may not hinder or interrupt the free flow of traffic on a public road. Then we come to general duties of driver and passengers, right? The driver must be seated to maintain control of the vehicle and have a clear view of the road ahead. Then these are the may nots, things that you may not do as a driver. You may not travel backwards further than it's necessary. Awuhambi ngo-reverse further than it's necessary. You may not follow another vehicle too closely. You may not allow another person or animal to interfere with your control of the vehicle. You may not allow another person to steer. You may not leave the vehicle unattended without setting the parking brake or using alternative methods to prevent the vehicle from moving. So if your handbrake is not working, the law says you must use alternative methods to prevent the car from moving. So it's either you put your car in gear number 1 as you switch it off, or you put it in gear number 2 to make sure that the car will not move. You may not allow any portion of your or passenger's body to stick out of the vehicle except for hand signals. You may not run the engine if it is giving off excessive smoke or fumes. You may not run the engine while fuel is being pumped or if the fuel tank cap is off. You may not leave the engine running if the vehicle is unattended. You may not deposit fuel, grease, oil, or any other flammable matter or refuse onto or alongside of the road. You may not allow passengers to get on or off while the vehicle is moving. You may not drive, push, or pull a vehicle onto a pavement. You may not fail to give way to emergency vehicles, right? So if there is an emergency vehicle behind you, you should make sure that they pass. You may not operate a communication device, which is a cell phone or two-way radio. You must use a hands-free kit or headset. And then we talk about abandoned vehicles. So vehicles abandoned on a public road or in a public place may be removed and impounded. The owner is liable for all the costs. The vehicle may not be sold to settle these costs. And then abandoned vehicles include the following: vehicles obstructing other traffic or standing in a way to cause potential danger, left more than 24 hours in the same place on a non-urban public road, left more than 7 days on a public urban road or testing station, found on a public road without a number plate or false number plate, found without any means of identifying the owner, parked on a no stopping or no parking area. Then we talk about the damage to public roads. You may not drag or spin the wheels of a vehicle on the surface of a road. You may not use shocks or shoes between the wheels and the road. Then we talk about tires. The thread pattern, this is important. The thread pattern must be visible and have a depth of not less than 1 millimeter across the entire width and circumference. Right? And then side walls must not have deep cuts and inner cords should not be visible. The tire should not be on such a state of disrepair or condition that may cause damage to the road or be a danger. Motorcycles may not be fitted with a rethread tires. Buses and taxis operating with a license issued by the Department of Transport must be fitted with commercial steel radial ply tires, and the steerable wheels must be fitted with anti-burst stabilizer devices. Then we come to your seat belts. Seat belts are compulsory to wear when in a moving vehicle. A child is then defined as a person between the ages of 3 and 14 years, except when such person is taller than 1.5 meters. Then he or she is regarded as an adult, irrespective of age. A person older than 14 years is defined as an adult. Helmets. You may not ride a motorcycle or be a passenger on a motorcycle or in a side car attached to a motorcycle on a public road unless a protective helmet is worn. Then we talk of convoys. Vehicles may not travel in a convoy over weekends, long weekends, or 2-day holiday, 25th and 26th of December during 6 p.m. the night before the weekend or holidays start until 6 a.m. the morning after the weekend or holiday. Animals on public roads. Animals that are not under the control of someone are not allowed on public roads or in a place that may stray into public. The people controlling animals on a public road must carry a warning at least 150 meters ahead of and beyond the herd as follows. Sunset to sunrise, a red light. Sunrise to sunset, 300 millimeters square red flag. If there are less than 10 animals, only one light or flag is required. Then we talk about emergency triangles. At least one double-sided reflective triangle, SAPS approved, must be carried at all times. If the vehicle is broken down or stationary on a public road, the triangle must be displayed at least 45 meters from the rear of the vehicle. Then we talk about unauthorized use of a vehicle. No one may drive, occupy, or tamper with a vehicle without the owner's permission. It is illegal to change a vehicle's engine or chassis number without prior written consent of the registering authority. Pedestrians' legal rights. If a vehicle collides with a pedestrian, the driver will be prosecuted irrespective of who had right of way. Note that, drivers. Racing and sports. You may not conduct a race or sports meeting on a public road without the consent of the MEC or relevant local authority, or with a modified vehicle that does not meet the specifications of the manufacturer's SAPS. Then I'm gonna pass the additional rules for motorcycles or motor tricycles. And then I'm gonna come to carrying loads on motorcycles. The project, no, not motorcycles again, carrying loads on motor vehicles. There is a video where I cover the motorcycles rules. There is a video. No part of a load may touch the road surface. The load must be securely fastened or be inside the vehicle without hindering the driver's control or view of the road ahead. Loads may not extend more than 300 millimeters beyond the front and 1.8 meters beyond the rear. 4.3 meters high from the ground on goods vehicles, 2.5 meters wide, 2.6 for goods vehicles that are 12,000 kgs or more. Abnormal loads require permission from traffic authorities. Any fitted brackets 150 millimeters beyond the vehicle's widest part. And then safety markings. Loads that project 150 millimeters or more to the side of the vehicle must be marked with number 1, daytime 300 millimeters square red flag attached to each corner, front and rear of the load. At night, white reflectors on each corner on front, red reflectors at each corner at the rear, and yellow reflectors on the sides. Loads less than 600 millimeters that project 300 millimeters or more beyond the rear of the vehicle must be marked with number 1, daytime a single 300 millimeters square red flag attached to the rear of the load. At night, white 1 red reflector at the rear of the load. Now we're coming to accidents. In the event of an accident involving a vehicle, person, animal, or property, stop the vehicle immediately. Check for any injuries. Provide any assistance where possible to the injured. Provide your name, address, and address of the vehicle owner and vehicle registration number. Report the accident within 24 hours. It's 24 hours, not 24 days, 24 hours, okay? Right. And then in the event of someone being killed during the accident, call the emergency services immediately. Ensure that the vehicle involved or vehicles involved are not moved without a traffic officer's authorization unless the vehicles are blocking the road or standing in a way to cause potential danger. Only after their positions have been marked on the road surface. Reckless, negligent, or inconsiderate driving. You may not drive in a manner that disregards the safety of the other road users or property. And then lastly, we talk about intoxicating liquor and narcotic drugs. No person shall drive a motor vehicle on a public road while the concentration of alcohol in person's body is number 1, 0.05 grams per 100 mils of blood or more. Okay. 0.02 grams per 100 mils of blood or more in case of professional drivers. And we conclude the rules of the road. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and come back for more content. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye.